So today we'll be going over the origin backstory for Alexa Bliss's Lilly and Bray Wyatt being gone again. Let's start off with Alexa Bliss's backstory for Lilly. We get to Alexa's playground and Alexa Bliss is on the swing set with Lilly. Alexa reveals that Lilly didn't come into her life around WrestleMania. She reveals that Lilly has been with her since she was born. We saw some Photoshop pictures of Lilly with a young Alexa Bliss throughout her childhood. Alexa recalls a story from her childhood where a girl was being mean to her and didn't let her have a bite of her ice cream cone. So Alexa Bliss shoved the girl right off the swing set and fell down hard and broke her arm. Then Alexa ate all of her ice cream. When Alexa was asked why she did it by the teachers, she told them the truth, and that the fact that Lilly made her do it. She said that the teachers thought she was bonkers. But she explained that if Lilly doesn't like something, she has no problem letting you know. It seemed like Lilly began talking to Alexa Bliss, telling her to get to the point, which Alexa responded to. Alexa sends a warning to all the other girls on the Raw roster, saying that Lilly didn't like the Fiend and Lilly doesn't like anyone in the Raw women's division. We then see Lilly and hear her laugh on the screen when the show ended. So there's a lot to take in here, and what they just revealed about her in this segment just opens up another mess of unanswered questions. Everyone assumed that Lilly did come into Alexa's life around WrestleMania, and that's what caused this big change with how Alexa viewed the Fiend. That seemed like it made sense and would explain why she turned on the Fiend so suddenly. But this episode of Alexa's Playground fully debunked that theory and confirms that Lilly was with Alexa the whole time, from when she was born to her early childhood, and we're to assume now that Lilly was there for the first few years of Alexa's WWE career as well. So now that it's been revealed that Lilly was there with Alexa Bliss the whole time, that raises the big question of, where has Lilly been over the last few years of Alexa's WWE career? You made this reveal that she was with Alexa Bliss the whole time, and she didn't like the Fiend, correct? So how come Lilly didn't stop Alexa Bliss from joining Bray Wyatt and The Fiend right from the start all those months ago? If Alexa Bliss had Lilly this whole time, how come Lilly didn't allow that relationship with The Fiend to go on for as long as it did? If Lilly was also there the whole time, how come there was literally no signs of Lilly or no signs of Alexa Bliss being a dark character from 2014 to 2020? This is just a mess of questions that have been caused by revealing that Lilly was there the whole time. Opens up so many plot holes about where Lilly has been this whole time, and why it took so long for Lilly to step in and end things with the Fiend, if she never really liked him. The only way to cover this weird reveal is if we look at Alexa Bliss's character as an unreliable narrator, meaning that we can't assume everything she's saying is the complete truth. Unreliable narrators will tell you a story in their eyes from what they saw, but most of the time they're adding things that never actually happened and leaving out parts of the story that actually happened. So, could that be what's going on with Alexa Bliss? Is she making certain things up? That's what we have to ask ourselves here about Lilly. It was still great to actually hear the origins and backstory for Lilly, and it would have been great and made even more sense if Alexa was a dark and crazy character right from the start. But she wasn't. She was a completely normal character for the first 5 or 6 years of her WWE career. So, are we supposed to forget that she was normal for all those years? Or do we cover all those years up by saying that she was just hiding Lilly? I like this story for Lilly, but I would really love these two questions to be answered. Why didn't Alexa mention or even hint towards Lilly for the first 5 years of her WWE career? And why didn't Lilly stop Alexa Bliss from joining the Fiend from the start? Those are the two biggest unanswered questions with that reveal that Lilly was with Alexa the whole time. But Alexa Bliss clearly looks at the other women in the women's division as the little girl who was being mean to her on the playground. So Lilly will come for them all eventually. That does seem to be some confirmation that Lilly will be an alter ego and Alexa Bliss will be similar to Bray Wyatt. Alexa Bliss will have that sort of funhouse persona, and she'll use her Lilly persona for the ring. Similar to how Bray always blames his actions on the Fiend. It seems like that's what Alexa will do. She'll start putting the blame on Lilly and saying that Lilly made her do everything. So we'll see how that turns out. Fans called out Raw this week for feeling rushed and feeling lazy. We saw a lot of reused and remixed segments, such as Drew McIntyre and MVP's conversation, Miz TV with Maurice, Charlotte calling out the women's division, and more. All repeats or slightly remixed moments that we saw the week prior, which the fans were quick to notice. There was a handful of rematches such as Viking Raiders vs. Shelton and Cedric, Lana and Naomi vs. Nia Jax and Shayna, and more. The women's tag team matches on Raw and SmackDown are slowly becoming an issue because of the lack of variety and freshness. We see the same tag team matches in the women's division every week. So that's something that the fans have picked up on as well. Another thing missing from Raw this week was Bray Wyatt. With Bray Wyatt missing the Raw right after the week that he returned, we can take that as an indicator that Bray Wyatt is back to having nothing to do, and they must not know what to do with him again. We saw the interviewer mention The Fiend very briefly to Randy Orton, but that was it. Which again makes you question why WWE would bring him up and the Firefly Funhouse back, and then leave him off the show the following week. It's inconsistencies like that one that just make your head spin. What are they doing with Bray Wyatt? What's the plan? Why is one of your most talented performers and biggest parts of Raw not on the show? Why? We do have to see so many disqualifications and rematches, yet there's no role or direction for Bray Wyatt on Raw at all. Booker T and a few other WWE personalities have come out over the last few weeks and said that The Fiend will be okay because he's not about wins and losses or championships. The championship part is true, The Fiend doesn't need titles to be relevant, but the wins and losses part is the questionable part here. Sure, The Fiend is not all about wins and losses, but does that mean he's just gonna come out and just lose all the time and it'll be okay? The Fiend lost the Inferno match to Randy Orton, but we gave that one a pass because we thought it was leading to a big character change for The Fiend. The Fiend comes back, we're expecting a big showing for him after his return, and he loses to Randy Orton again? So where are we at with The Fiend right now? It's not to say that the character has been buried, but it feels like they eliminated so much momentum and hype with The Fiend since WrestleMania. It feels like no one cares anymore because we just don't know where the character is going or headed to. Then Bray Wyatt returns for his first Firefly Funhouse episode in 4 months, says a whole lot of nothing in that episode, then goes missing from Raw in the weeks after that. So just trying to figure out the logic here and direction could give you a headache because it's just all over the place and makes no sense. We'll see if Bray Wyatt will get any direction in the coming weeks. But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.